It's a big job. It's one of those powerful jobs in the world. It's not one of those positions you give to elderly men who've campaigned from their basement. If you want to be the guy who's second in line from the presidency in America, you got to work for it. And Kevin McCarthy certainly has worked for it this week, whatever you think of him. You get the feeling McCarthy would crawl naked through a sewer to get this gig. And that's not necessarily an insult, by the way. It's what it takes, obviously. Maybe it's what it should take. Nothing we have seen in Washington recently, the supposedly apocalyptic world-ending drama of politicians arguing with each other, none of it qualifies as especially unusual or even bad. This is what democracy looks like when you get up close. I want one thing, you want another thing, we schedule a vote to see who gets it, or in this case, 11 votes. But whatever, how is that a disaster? Well, it's not a disaster. It's how the system is supposed to work. But don't tell the moron community that. Say what you will about the effort to prevent McCarthy from becoming speaker, the terrorism, as we're calling it in Washington, is terrorism. That effort has one upside. That effort has challenged the current system in a meaningful way. If he does become speaker, by the time he becomes speaker, Kevin McCarthy will have learned a lot. Kevin McCarthy will have publicly acknowledged his failures. He will have been forced to face the people he has disappointed, both within the Congress and outside of it. And he will have promised to change. So here we will have suffering, accountability, and repentance. Those are not bad things. No, those are the best things. Those are the wrenching life experiences that turn the mediocre into decent people. 20 of Kevin McCarthy's colleagues have forced him to become better. And the rest of us ought to be very grateful to them for doing it because no one else was going to.
I rise to nominate Donald Trump for the position of Speaker of the House. This government for far too long has been deeply corrupt. This town has been deeply corrupt. The way people get leadership positions and chairmanships and opportunities to be able to morally preen has been by accepting lobbyist and special interest money and redistributing that money as currency for favors. And if we just go next man up on our side of the aisle, we will reify that corrupt system and we will abandon the people who are expecting us to fight for them. We also have to restore to the Speaker's office an actual person that ought to be in the Speaker's office, not the squatter who is currently there. And if the architect of the Capitol is listening, I sent a letter, and I would like to know what the basis is to allow somebody to occupy the Speaker's office who comes in second place 10 straight times. Is there like some basis in law or rule or precedent for that?
That Matt Gaetz would nominate Donald Trump for Speaker of the House on January 5th, hours away from the second anniversary of January 6th, just tells you how this is not a serious enterprise, how at least many of the holdouts are just not serious people. 2 years ago tomorrow, Donald Trump tried to steal the country, tried to overturn an election, tried to subvert the democracy that lives in that building.
This is, again, a tragedy for American democracy. I think the only people enjoying this are probably newscasters attached to Kremlin state media.
Some of these individuals were people who were really only elected based on a litmus test to stop the tide of diversity in the country, the browning of America, the fears that surround that.
I'm angry about it. You know why? They're making the Republicans look ridiculous. First of all, I like Kevin McCarthy. Okay, why wasn't this done ahead of time? Why are we doing this in front of the public? We look like a bunch of fools.
There's a reason why all of your viewers, or the vast majority of your viewers in the Fox audience, doesn't want us to vote for Kevin McCarthy. He doesn't represent the conservative center of the Republicans across the country. They know that he doesn't stand and fight. They know that he helped pass massive spending bills during his time in leadership with a majority of Democrat votes when we had control of Congress last time when he was the majority leader.
We'll do this for days. We'll do this for weeks. It could go months. But we can't back down to 20 people who are holding the rest of the House captive or hostage.